the bounce house. And it's easy to see why they call it that. Home of the Knights of UCF. What do you think about that? And this crowd is ready for a big one. And boy, do we have a fun one ahead. Top 10 team, target on their back, going on their road and right into the snake pit. As we'll see the #1 team in the country, the Florida Gators, taking on the 17th ranked team in the land, the UCF Knights. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Reese Davis, joined here in the booth, as always, by David Pollack and Jesse Palmer. Guys, let's tee this one up. The Gators will get us underway with the opening kickoff. And no chance at a return here. They'll start this drive at their own 25. So UCF's offense will get the first swing of the game. And here he is. Let me tell you about this wide receiver. He is a route-running, DB, toasting, pass-catching, touchdown-scoring, woo, son of a gun.
I can't wait to see how this defense is going to try and corral this guy, because you play man-to-man, you risk him running right by you and catching the deep ball, but you play zone and you give him the opportunity to potentially make yards after the catch. You're going to have to be really careful trying to cover that dude.
Starting a drive like that really builds confidence. First down from the 45. The offense showing motion from the tight end, trying to get a read on the D. Out of the gun, the inside give. He's knocked down in the backfield. He'll lose a couple.
You see all this movement in football now, all the stemming. The defensive line, they're sliding right before the snap, creating confusion for the offensive line. Then they're moving back and stunting. Really good job by the defense. Continue to move, continue to stunt, continue to get in the backfield and make this life hard on this running back.
Third down conversions are a huge stat, and this one would be a doozy if they can pull it off. They're bringing heat. And this sophomore able to wreak some havoc and get the sack. The Knights send out the punt unit. They'll have to punt for the first time this afternoon. He'll bring it back. It's Sanders. They'll get him down at the 21-yard line. The coverage team able to stop him right there. So the Florida Gators offense will try to get something started with their first possession. Here are our impact players for this game, and it goes beyond executing an assignment to make an impact in the game.
Yeah, obviously we were talking to both coaching staffs this week, and we asked them who needs to step up and play well. They immediately... these guys right here. They are the key for their respective teams.
Yeah, and they don't always show up in the box score, but these are the guys are the leaders. These are the guys getting everybody organized and have to play well for their team to succeed.
From the gun, running back gets to give. They stay aggressive and push their way out to the 33, and it's first down. The Gator ground game is lurking in the murky waters, and it has been most effective.
Yeah, and we've seen them in the past, man. When Florida's really cooking, they've got some good backs. They've got some good balance, but they've got some physicality, and that's what you want to see from this unit.
Halfway there on first down, it's 2nd and 5. The receivers telling the quarterback what they see. Just a short pass to the tight end. Major gaps in that defense, and he got loose, and they finally knock him down at the 41. Really good job working through his progression. You get it to him quickly, and the big tight end has a chance to run a little.
And a really good job by the QB throwing an accurate throw. I got to hit those guys on the move, on the run, so they can do this. They can catch the football, get upfield, and chew up some extra yards.
The Gators will have it 1st and 10.
Well, there's the offense trying to take advantage of this running back speed. I like the call. Hand off to the left, to the outside. Put him in space and let him go to work.
Makes his connection. Love seeing these early season top 25 matchups. You can get a really good feel of how good these teams are, guys.
And the intensity is going to be big too, David, because the players, you know, on these teams, they've been thinking about this game for a long time. They knew they'd have a national stage, and they got a chance to prove just how good they are.
Oh, man, make that statement. Make that early statement. We always look at the end of this.
Got some room, headed to the goal line. Gets out of bounds after the big play, and they'll be set up in business with a 1st and goal.
Man, how tough is this guy to defend? He drops back, everything tells you pass, and then he scrambles and gets the 1st down. Just so hard to defend.
And the Gators are threatening on 1st and goal. On the move. And he waltzes in for the score. Touchdown, Gators! And with the extra point, they get the first 7 of the game. Lining up to cover the kick after that touchdown drive.
Florida 7, UCF 0.
And he takes this from inside the 5. And the returner goes down. Now the UCF offense ready to go back to work. That last drive fizzled out, Jesse. They had to punt it.
Yeah, they did. And, David, they're just going to have to do a better job this time around erasing the mental mistakes.
And just trying to solve the defensive riddle, understanding what they're trying to do to you and attack them.
Hit hard just as he released it on 1st down and just couldn't get it to the receiver. After misfiring, it's 2nd down. Using his legs, it's Ortiz. Not a lot of room there. Give him a couple to the 16.
You know, runs like this oftentimes are like a boxer in a boxing match. Obviously, it's not a knockout punch, but these are body blows. And as the game goes on, these small gains are going to turn into longer runs.
If they can convert here, that type of play can really give you a shot of momentum. On 3rd down, he'll try to pick it up through the air. Had to throw it before he wanted.
We're already in the 1st quarter, but already you get the feeling this could be a long day for this QB. He's already been sacked. He gets hit right there on the incomplete throw. They've got to find a way to do a better job up front of protecting this guy, or it's going to be difficult to put up points.
Slips through the line. There he goes. Open it up. You want to talk about dynamic ability to flip a field? On display right there, and it was just about a return for a touchdown. You talk about being handed a chance on a silver platter. 1st and goal from the 3. Into the end zone he goes. Touchdown, Florida!
One thing this team has shown early this year, it does not take them long to find their footing. They get off to fast starts. That was critical for them, winning their 1st game, and you've seen it here in this one too. They show up ready to go. There's no sleepwalking. I think you got to give this coaching staff a ton of credit for putting their players in good positions to have success.
UCF has it once again. What do you think about that? To say this has been a slow start is a bit of an understatement, and they really need to get it going here, Jesse.
That's right. The opponent, they're firing on all cylinders right out of the gate. Offensively, for this unit, they've been slow and struggling. They need an explosive play to wake themselves up.
Yeah, and it's just the first quarter, so it's not the end of the world. You've seen slow starts, but you got to continue to pick and pick and pick until you find that play or that scheme that you can use against this defense.
Caught behind the line. It's all stopped. The defense wouldn't let him loose there, and it was a completion, but they lost yardage. They line up, and it is a long way to the sticks from here. On 3rd and long, a check down would be the last resort. Snagged in the middle. It's Ortiz. And he's not going to make it. The defense denying him the first down. The Knights will call on their punt team. That's a perfect example of not settling for a fair catch. Pick up whatever yardage you can and help out the offense. The Gators sending the offense back to work. And David, how they would love to stick it in the end zone one more time after that last drive.
And once you get the defense on their heels and you back them off a little bit, you get in a little bit of rhythm, it's really hard to stop Jesse, and they're going to try to do it again right here.
And if you're this play caller, you're loving what's happening right now because everything you dialed up on that last drive ended up working out. You're just looking at your play sheet. Everything you're picking is working. Let's see if they can pull it off again here.
Oh, he wants it all. Snags it at the 30 and still running. And he'll run it into the end zone. Touchdown, Gator!
Well, I know it's early this season, but it's obvious already. This guy is a major weapon in this offense. Had 2 touchdowns in his first game. He's now on the board right now. What a difference maker and a playmaker he's going to be this season for this offense.
Almost ready to kick it away after scoring the touchdown.
UCF 0.
Just into the end zone, and he'll bring it out. Nothing wrong with a touchback, and they wish they had one right now, but he stopped at the 9-yard line. The UCF offense back on the field, ready to go to work. Their drive chart is starting to look a little monotonous. Punt, 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 David.
And their defense is starting to get a little frustrated, too. They just keep putting me back on the field, possession after possession. Jesse, this offense needs to get their heads out of their you-know-whats.
The punter's on the sideline with the oxygen mask right now. He's been playing so much. He's not used to this. This offense, they just got to stay on the field. They've got to put a drive together and get some balance going, running and throwing the ball.
Yeah, and you see running backs in today's football, they play a wide receiver basically for you, but you got to find a guy that you can throw it to, and you know he's going to catch the ball consistently.
Pocket starts to collapse. And he is snowed under. Sacked at the 7.
We haven't even gotten to halftime yet. This offense has their hands full trying to keep this quarterback standing up straight. They've already given up multiple sacks. That's the biggest reason why they're trailing by as much as they are. They better go in at halftime and make some big-time adjustments.
Bringing it back, it's Sanders. Man, oh man, did that coverage team have its hands full. Well, not full because they didn't get a hand on him for quite a while. Great return there. A first down for the offense. The receivers often will run their route based on a side adjustment. They'll come out on this drive and let it rip. Pass rush coming after the quarterback, and they get him at the 32. A big play for the defense with the first down sack. Now, advantage D as the offense comes up on 2nd down. And it'll be incomplete. This defense is physical in pass D.
The defense was obviously ready for that play. They've obviously been watching film. They know that that pass play is one of the bread and butter plays this offense has, so nice job defending it.
Under pressure, and down he goes at the 33.
You want to change some of this bad luck you've had so far around? Get after the quarterback and get his butt on the ground. Nice job by the defense. This game ain't over. It's still the first half. This is a good start.
He's got it, and they convert. There was tight coverage, but a perfect throw and catch, and they've got it at the 9, 1st and goal. Wants to pass. Makes the grab, and he will score. Touchdown, Florida!
And I tell you what, this offense, man, we got a small sample size. We only had one game where they were unbelievable last game, but another score early in this football game. This offense is looking like a force to be reckoned with.
The kick is up and good, and put one more on the lead. And for a quick update, let's go to Kevin Connors in the studio.
A bit of an under-the-radar game this week, guys, but take a look at this. FIU is in front. They've controlled the line of scrimmage today, but they still have some work to do to put this in the win column. They're up by 10 over Southern Miss. We'll circle back if anything big happens in this college football matchup.
And how about that one? Kevin will be keeping an eye on everything going on elsewhere. They'll try the run. He'll bounce his way ahead for a pickup of 4 out to the 14.
And it's just simple first down run, showing your physicality, setting your offense up in a good spot.
Solid pickup of 4 on first down. It's 2nd and 6.
Let's go!
The play action fake. Got his man on the right. And this one will be stopped for no gain.
And listen, the fullback's not going to run deep routes, and he's not going to be a speedster or a blazer, but keeping you honest, making you defend the whole field, everybody on the field. Just keep working, and maybe the big fella will get you something later.
Didn't have anything working and just had to throw it away on 3rd down. The Knights will bring the punt team onto the field. They may have to pay him overtime. He's punting for the 5th time today. He'll get away another punt. He's been really active today, and no doubt he's going to earn his varsity letter. This guy is a daring punt return man. He's not going to settle for the fair catch. A solid return gets a little bit of ground for the offense. Florida has the ball back, and here comes the offense. Try to get it to the edge. On the move is the 30. Oh, look out. Touchdown, Gator. And they take it in for 6 more points.
Man, I am a great play caller when I can hand it to guys like that, and he can go that far to the house, create big plays, showed you a little bit of vision, showed you a little bit of burners. When he kicked it in gear, he got the long touchdown.
UCF 0.
He'll bring it back from inside his 5. They'll try to put a drive together, starting from their own 12. They're going to open this drive with a pass. And this sophomore able to wreak some havoc and get the sack. He is a menace rushing the passer, career sack number 20.
I mean, some people just have a knack for getting to the quarterback. What a great job throughout his career. Getting there, getting him down.
He's going to go down, and he's in his own end zone. It's going to be a safety.
Oh, and how about this defense? Understanding where they are in the field. They got a chance to put points on the board, and they do.
Now on the return.
The return is tackled down at the 37. And the Florida offense will take over.
The Gators sending the offense back to work. He wants to start this drive with a pass. Wide open downfield. The expressway is wide open. And the catch and run into the end zone. Touchdown, Florida. Another touchdown for this guy, and he's starting to get in a groove the way Terry Dean did when he set the single-game record with 7 touchdowns.
Another one. I mean, just putting up stats. This guy's finding the end zone, and he can do it all. Just showing it off left and right. When you play in such a physical league like the SEC, but you got a guy like this that can get an extra first down and really keep those chains moving and score big plays and big touchdowns, good luck stopping him.
On to attempt the try.
Kicker is on for the extra point.
And with the extra point, they push the lead out a little further. About to kick it off after punching it in for the touchdown.
Florida 44, UCF 0.
He thought about bringing that out for a half second, but he'll take a knee and they'll bring it to the 25. Now the UCF offense ready to go back to work. Maybe they learned something from their opening script of plays, David, but other than that, this has been an abject disaster.
And I think they learned what not to do. I mean, this has been an abject disaster. They haven't done anything right. Offense, defense. Palmer, this one's ugly, and it's still early.
Yeah, I'd normally say, well, it's first quarter, just don't worry about it, there's time, but
worry.
This is the worst.
And the ball comes out. What a disastrous play. Once that ball was loose, offense didn't have a chance. Defenders everywhere. It's a turnover.
Those are hard for offensive linemen when they get beat, and you're going, no, look out for your blind side, watch out. But great job rushing the quarterback, getting him on the ground, and getting the football out. A little extra bonus. Nice job by the defense getting nasty.
The offense set for a first down play. Quarterback checking the play. Trying to start the drive with a pass. On the run, still looking. He's run out of bounds, but a big play on that one, and it'll be a first down. Defense is backed up. Shadow of the goalpost, trying to defend their own end zone. They'll try to get it in with the run. Relentless, tough running gets it down to the 4.
And down here near the goal line, you got to be physical. And this guy's proven it today, Palmer. They've given it to him. He's put it in the end zone twice already. I'm going to keep feet.
And he takes it to the house. Touchdown, Gator. Lining up to tack one more onto that lead. And the extra point just tacks a little bit more onto this huge lead. Quick strike offense on that 3-play scoring drive. And they finished it off with the score from the 4. And they thought about a return, then thought better of it. They'll bring it out to the 25. UCF has it once again. What do you think about that? As it turns out, the fumble on that last drive set up the touchdown, David.
And there's no bigger stat in football than turnovers. You turn the football over, they turn it into points. Jesse, that is not a recipe for success.
Good news, though, they get another chance, right? They can make amends with this drive right here. That's all that's important. You've got to execute, you've got to lock in.
Got 6 on first down, now a lot of options on 2nd and 4. Fires to the wideout. And that pass is intercepted. And they'll drag him down after a good return on the interception. And the senior just snatched the ball out of the air and gave it back to his offense.
Some defensive players just have a knack. I've played with guys throughout the course of my career that you can't coach it. It's not speed, it's not strength. It's literally, I know when to break on the football, how to go get it, and how to pull it in. It's just a knack.
Florida has the ball back, and here comes the offense. Line gets set, first down. From the gun, they'll try to impose their will.
Yeah, and the running back didn't get much here, but, you know, you clearly want to always establish the tempo, run the football, be consistent, make that defense physically meet the challenge.
Looking to pass on 2nd down. Makes the grab, it's Sanders. And they make the stop, and that will likely bring us to the end of the first quarter. We've come to the end of the quarter, and it's Florida on top. They largely dominated this first quarter as indicated by the stats. Ball at the 31, 3rd and short, coming defense trying to rise up. To the ground to try to pick up the first. Brought to the ground, but not before getting enough for the first down. The Gators come to the line with a new set of downs. Comes out throwing on first down. Got his man downfield. And he strides his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Florida! And with the extra point, the lead is even bigger. Quick work on that scoring drive, just 4 plays. And the scoring play comes on a touchdown pass from 22 yards out.
UCF 0.
He'll bring it out. It's Everett. That gamble did not pay off as they bring him down at the 12-yard line. The UCF offense back on the field, ready to go to work. After throwing the pick on the last drive, need to take care of the ball this time, Jesse.
We're going to find out a lot about this quarterback right here, too. How does he fight through adversity after that last drive?
Yeah, clear the mechanism, move on. That's a part of it, right? If you're going to be a great player, you got to learn how to handle these mistakes and move on.
Trying to get to it. Fires into traffic, intercepted. And it's going to be a pick six. Touchdown, Gator. Look, I know it's only the second quarter, but we're starting to see a pretty significant gap develop between these two teams right now.
No doubt. When your defense is scoring, your offense is scoring, good things happening for your ball club. This defense on point, reading their scouting report, making big plays.
65, UCF 0.
And they desperately wanted to attempt a return, but decided not to. Instead, they'll take the touchback. Now the UCF offense ready to go back to work. Well, the good news is they threw a touchdown pass last time. It was just to the wrong team, Jesse.
Well, that's an unfortunate part of the game for quarterbacks, but guess what? They do happen, so you've got to be able to turn the page here and lead this offense.
Well, I think you know this defense is going to be aggressive. They're going to jump routes. They're going to play aggressive. You got to take advantage of that. Maybe use that this time to your advantage.
And they try to run inside, and there is nowhere to go.
Great team defense on that run play. Everybody doing their job. People winning their one-on-ones, D linemen staying in their gaps, linebackers and DBs filling. You just can't do it better.
They'll run play action. Feeling some heat. Didn't have much of a choice, just had to throw that one away. It'll be fourth down. The Knights decide to punt it away. They're up to a half dozen kicks today. He'll bring it back. It's Sanders. He's got great speed. Well, they finally stop him, but he found some running room on that return and really helps out his offense to start this drive. Good field position here as they start this drive from their 43. Now the quarterback changing the original play call. Off play action on first down. Oh, he's going to try to hit him deep. And they weren't able to make the connection. They were looking for an explosive play. After the quarterback and receiver couldn't connect, it's 2nd and 10. Takes the handoff, and he's going right. A solid pickup there before the defense is able to make the stop. 3rd down after the run. From the gun, wants to pass. Using the quick game. Nice job to pick up the first down, and they'll spot it at the 42. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs.
And that's good enough for a first down.
Now on the option. Now the toss. Crosses the 30. He's got away. Just steamrolling his way through. And he caught that pitch in stride and was off to the races. A big gain and a first down for this offense.
This guy is really unique. Top 5 in the country running the football right now, and I love the way this offense gets him involved. They're able to move him around a little bit. They change up the schemes, but the big key every week, get him the ball, let him go to work.
They'll use the running game on 1st and goal. And he takes it in for the score. Touchdown, Florida.
Have yourself a day, young fella. You know why they handed him the ball a lot? Because he did that. That's his 4th trip to pay dirt. This dude has shown you a little bit of everything. What a great back. And 4 touchdowns on the day.
UCF 0.
And he'll just take a knee, and this drive will start at the 25. UCF has it once again. What do you think about that? The last time we saw this offense, we had to look quick. It was a 3-and-out, Jesse.
They just had no rhythm in that last drive. So someone's going to have to step up and make a play, David, and get this thing going.
Yeah, let's find some juice. Find your guy. Find those plays that you know you can run inside out, forward, backwards. Get some first downs. Get some positive momentum.
Brought down at the 45 after a 15-yard pickup. The offense getting set for a first down from the 45. He's looking to throw it. They're trying to get to him. Still on his feet at the 45. And a nice pickup on the run and gets down to avoid contact. This first half of offense won't go on the highlight reel so far, but starting to get things moving, it's 1st and 10. On the move at the 30. He's all the way down to the 27-yard line, and they are threatening. The Knights will snap it on 1st and 10. They go to the draw. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one.
That's how you blow up the draw play. That's supposed to hit in between the tackles. But if you can force the ball carrier to bounce outside, then you've got an opportunity to create a negative play, and they did exactly that.
They're trying to slow that rush down with the draw. He's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of 3.
I tell you, they tried to go draw in the middle of the field. That back had nowhere to go with the football. He was tackled right away for a loss.
Coming after him. And the quarterback runs out of time, and down he goes at the 38.
Man, I think this quarterback needs to take his offensive line out for dinners more often because they're not protecting him. And sometimes it doesn't even look like they're trying. That now the 6th sack of the game for this defense.
Oh, he missed it. No good. The idea was to draw just a tad closer. Instead, the mountain is still enormous. The Gators sending the offense back to work. This has been exactly the way you draw things up, David. The offense has really been moving the football.
And it's been great execution. They've done exactly what they've wanted to do. Build the lead. Now Palmer's a different animal. Now you got to protect him.
You can tell they were paying attention in practice this week in the film room because they have gone out, everybody right now on the same page.
They'll get him stopped at the 34. He's got 10 yards on that one and a first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Off the play fake on first down to throw. Unleashes one deep. Throw to the end zone, picked off. And the senior just took that one out of the air and sent it the other way.
And that's got to feel good, and that's a play this young man is never going to forget. His first interception of the season. Great job reading the QB's eyes and getting to the football.
And the physical play there forces the incompletion on first down. Couldn't make the connection last time. Let's see if they throw it again. On second down, just keeps firing. Grabbed behind the line. It's all stopped. Can't come in half-stepping to tackle this guy. Too much strength and power. He's up to the 25. They'll try to move the chains on 3rd and short from the 25. From the gun, wants to pass. Fires to the right. Pulls it in. Hit the gas, kid. Wide open ahead. And he's brought down after a huge completion. They made the defense pay with that last big chunk of yardage. Now 1st and 10 from the 30. Gonna run it. It's Ortiz. Nowhere to run on that one. He loses 4 on the carry.
How about the defender being a heat-seeking missile? He was on radar lock. He found the football and flew down with some bad intentions.
And it'll be incomplete. This is some physical pass defense.
This offense just has to find a way to find a rhythm here. They're playing at home, and they want this crowd to stay involved and be an asset in the game, but they need to start making plays. They can't keep throwing incompletions this early.
And the offense got themselves in a tough situation. 3rd and long, so hard to execute, especially when the field starts to shrink. But the good news is they got a field goal in their back pocket.
And the kicker delivers the 3 ball to finish off the drive. Let's not say they cut into the deficit with that field goal. Maybe just, tweaked a little bit of it away with their fingernail. On the run from inside his own 5. He was looking for more running room, but none to be found as he stopped at the 23. Florida has the ball back, and here comes the offense. Boy, they hope this next drive is more productive after throwing a pick last time, Jesse.
Yeah, and the coaches did a good job on the sideline there, just talking to the young quarterback and making sure he's able to turn the page, calm him down.
And the pressure gets there, and down he goes at the 18. They've already racked up big sack numbers. It's starting to snowball, and they are ready to go again. Wide receiver coming across in motion. He's looking to throw. Going deep. And that's going to be incomplete. Going for broke on second down, but third down's coming up. I'm not positive, but that first down marker might be in the next county. On third and long, he'll have to turn it loose deep. That's reeled in. It's Henderson. Crosses the 30. He's got a lane. He will step out of bounds, but not before the big pickup and a first down for this offense. The Gators come to the line with a fresh set of downs. Going up top on first down. Oh, he's going to try to get it all here. Got it in stride inside the 20. He's showing it all, the juice, the jets, the moves, and he's got it down to the 16-yard line. And the Gators are moving quickly down the field. The give to the tailback. He's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of 3. Not many hiccups on this drive, but it's 2nd and 13 now. Here's the handoff. A strong tackle and wrap-up from the junior. We've reached the 2-minute warning, and they will try to build on what has already been a dominant first-half performance. On third down, going up top. Using his legs to buy some time. He makes the catch, but the officials right on top of it, signaling out of bounds. And wait just a second, the official's going to take a second look at this one. So the officials take a closer look, and the replay booth will overturn the call. This offense has already converted once on fourth down. Can they do it again? A run for the quarterback. They'll get him stopped just short of the end zone, but they're in business here with a first down. Not even a moment of anxiety in that decision. 4th and 1? Yep, we're going.
Well, this isn't even a discussion in the headset. Like, this is automatic, autopilot. Like, 4th and 1, we're going for it every single time.
This offensive line better figure out a plan for this D tackle. He is tough to block with one guy. You might want to start double teaming him. He's going to be a problem moving forward. You saw all of his ability on that last play.
Looking for just one more yard. It's 2nd and goal. Wide out in motion. Try to get the edge with a quick touch pass. Touchdown Gators! And they add 6 more to the board with that trip to the house.
You know, quarterbacks and receivers, they develop confidence and chemistry as the game goes on. These two right now are definitely on the same page.
About to kick it away after scoring the touchdown.
79, UCF 3.
And it'll come out to the 25. No attempt at a return. The UCF offense back on the field, ready to go to work. Boy, they've been caught in a buzzsaw here in the first half, but maybe a chance to carry some momentum into the break here.
It all comes down to this drive right here, Reese. Obviously, this offense hasn't had everything go right for them in the first half, but here's an opportunity, David, to execute some plays, put some throws together, and generate some points.
And you're right, Jesse, and this offense needs to start now. Like, we got to get some points on the board, create some momentum, and continue it, because you've dug yourself a significant hole.
There's a timeout called as this offense tries to find a way to draw a little closer. Looking to move it through the air. Gets it out fast. At the 40, there he goes. And this defense is a half a beat behind. They just can't quite keep up. They've got it down to the 21. That big play put them in business. Now they're right on the edge of the red zone as they go to work 1st and 10. Caught over the middle. It's Everett. That completion takes them down to the 7-yard line, and they are ready to strike. There's a timeout on the field. Tight game here late in the first half. This offense needs a little something to feel good about going to halftime. A chance to chip away here on 1st and goal. It's on target and complete. That throw and catch gets them down to the 6, and the defense is running out of answers. Now on 2nd and goal. He's looking to throw. Pressure coming. Good job to toss that ball out of bounds and avoid the loss.
Got to give the defense a lot of credit, man, because they've come into this hostile environment and they've quieted the crowd down with some of the plays they're making. They've got a nice lead right here, and they're making it hard for this quarterback to go to work.
6 plays brought them here. Now number 7 on 3rd and goal. From the gun, wants to pass. Getting some heat. And the pressure gets there. And down he goes at the 18. The defense going to stop the clock with a timeout. They want to make sure they have everybody on the same page. Just drives it between the uprights. And they'll put 3 on the board, but the deficit remains huge. So they put the field goal on the board and about to kick it away, and hoping that'll be the final points of this first half. On the move from inside his 5. And they'll haul down the returner to start us on the next drive. Running out of time here in the first half, they're going to have to be efficient to put some points on the board before the break. They're going to throw it to start the drive. He rifles one deep to the left.
Towards the receiver is incomplete. It's 2nd down.
They'll spread the defense out, going 5 wide on 2nd and 10. After the incompletion, they go back up top. Throws to the wideout. Got his man all by himself. That defense got gashed, but they finally get him to the turf at the 47. The offense burns its 3rd and final timeout of the half. Just enough time for one final play in this half. Quarterback changing the plays at the line. He'll come out throwing on 1st down. Pass is incomplete, and half comes to a close on that play. We played 2 quarters here. Time to go to Kevin Connors in our halftime update.
All right, guys, looks like we've got a great scene there in Orlando. And it'd be easy to say these 2 offenses are glad we've hit halftime based on their respective performances. It would also be accurate. Turnovers and sacks have told the story so far. And you gotta believe the play calling has been the issue, right? Time to shred those game plans and just get back to basics. And with that, let's send it back to the guys just down the road from our EA Sports Studios at the Bounce House.
Knights will kick it away to start the second half. Bringing it out. He was hoping for something a little more.
At the 20.
They get him on the ground at the 20.
Will take over. First and 10.
The offense back to work. A lot of field in front of them as they open this possession from their own 20. First play from scrimmage, and they'll keep it on the ground. And he's able to shed one tackle and pick up pretty good yardage.
How nice is it as a play caller when you've got a running back as good as this guy, right? I mean, you can just dial up conservative run calls. Nothing has to be too tricky, too fancy. You just know he's going to go make good things happen. Even when it's not blocked properly, he is still finding ways to rip off long runs. Has over 150 yards rushing in the game. Doesn't look like he's slowing down, guys.
The offense setting up shop at the 46, first and 10. He wants to throw. Trying to make magic with his feet. He's finally stopped, but a big play there with his feet as he moves those sticks.
He's got such good awareness in the pocket. He does a good job of feeling the rush, and you know it's a pass, and you want to keep your eyes downfield, but he sees an opening, and if he sees an opening, he's got the ability to go get it and get a first down.
And he'll go out of bounds, and this aerial attack just continues to carve this defense into tiny slices. Trying to cap this drive with the pass. Can't find his man as he took a shot trying to deliver that football, and it'll be second down. It'll be second down, and remember, they can pick up a first without scoring. The jet sweep pass. Puts him in the spinner and moves on. Touchdown, Florida! And the stomping has commenced.
And another good touchdown drive by this offense. And how about the start to the season? Blowout win in game 1. Blowout win looking like in game 2. This unit's clicking. They're looking like a team that will be reckoned with when the playoffs start late in the year.
And let's check in with Kevin Connors in the studio. Kevin?
A lot of eyeballs on your game, guys, and a few on this interesting matchup as well. Arizona is ahead in this one. This team plays a fun brand of football there in Tucson, but they're a long way from closing this out. They're up by a field goal over Washington. Any big developments in this one, we've got you covered with the best studio team in the business, gentlemen.
Oh, and how about that? I know Kevin and those guys will be keeping an eye on it for us. Leaves it with the running back. Works ahead for a couple. They'll stop him at the 27.
The run game just has not been working for this offense all game long. We saw it on that last play as well. Just not getting enough push up front on the offensive line. They haven't been physical.
Throwing right. Makes a connection. And it is a chunk play. A huge gain on that one before the defense brings it to an end. The Knights have it with a first and 10. The hand to the running back. And he is swarmed under a host of defenders there to make the stop. Didn't get much on first down. It's 2nd and 9. From the gun, the running back looking for room. A run up the middle is stuffed for no gain. They've got the ball at midfield, but they're facing a 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. It's complete on the right side. And he was knocked down immediately short of the line to gain. They'll have to make a decision here. The Knights will punt it away on 4th down. And the punt hits ground at the 2 and goes into the end zone. He just missed, hitting them right in the shadow of the goalpost. It'll come out to the 20. Quarterback making adjustments with his receivers. They're bringing heat. And they get to the quarterback and knock him down back at the 16. That first down was rather unproductive. Let's see what they've got on 2nd down from the 16. He's looking to throw. Pocket starts to collapse. Got his man to the left. Makes the tackle at the 32, but they were backed up inside their 20, and they pick up 15. With a first down, they'll snap it from the 32. He's going to pass. The sweet feet buy a little time. He'll turn it loose out to the right. No other words, that was just a terrible throw. After the incompletion, it's 2nd down. He's looking to throw. Got his man in the middle. They make the stop, but the sweet throw and catch is plenty to give him a first down. The Gators are on the move.
And first down for the offense.
Wants to throw on first down. Looking to buy time. Going to try to get it himself. And he'll be brought down.
Well, you're making a positive out of a negative. And that time, quarterback, nice job buying time. He's trying to throw the football downfield. Nothing there. So instead of throwing it away and getting the incomplete, just get what you can get and make this next down work.
And the defense is all over the quarterback, and down he goes. This is a 3rd and long. He's looking downfield to throw. He tosses one high and deep down the left side. A big-time catch along the sidelines. Got the foot down and an excellent throw, too. Touchdown, Gators! And the pummeling has started. And the extra point is good. Lining up to cover the kick after that touchdown drive. And it'll be a touchback. The ball will come out to the 25-yard line. Now the UCF offense ready to go back to work. They hope to be able to cash in on this drive, David, after having to punt it last time.
Yeah, and I think this offense needs to start it with the first play. You need to be successful and productive on that first play, and it gets you in less predictable situations.
All kinds of running room. And they were looking for a chunk play, and they got it. The explosive picks up more than 30. One big play can really flip the script of a drive. It's 1st and 10 from just outside the 30. Red pass, it's complete. And they'll finally catch up to him, but not before a big chunk of yardage is picked up. The Knights will try to punch it in on 1st and goal. The snap sets up to throw. Got it! And he was pushing for that goal line, but the D stopped him at the 2. Using him out of the slot, he has just been unstoppable.
And I love putting dynamic athletes in the slot that I can move around, that I can put in motion, that I can make him go in or out. I can put him off the ball so you can't get hands on him, and they've really featured this guy today. And with the stuff there, Jesse, on 2nd down, this little 3rd to mid-range, you got 2 downs. What are you thinking here?
Maybe getting your quarterback out on the perimeter and giving him a run-pass option. See if you can get the defense in a bind.
3rd and goal, and they'll try to pass it in. Looking to the end zone. And it's caught! Touchdown, Knights!
3rd and goal situation, and as a quarterback, you're thinking, I got to find Mr. Dependable. Who is that? It's always the tight end. He does a nice job on the route. He's a really big target. That was a smart decision by the quarterback, and it ends up being a touchdown.
Here he comes from inside his own 5. He was looking for more running room, but none to be found as he stopped at the 23. Florida has the ball back, and here comes the offense. This offense has really been clicking in the game so far, Jesse.
No doubt. Everything their play caller is dialing up, these guys offensively have been able to go out and execute.
Yeah, and it's just maintaining the lead. Keep doing what you've been doing. You got a big lead. Let's just keep piling it on until they find an answer.
Not much there. Picks up a couple to the 22.
Man, that D-tackle is a freak athlete. Did you see him come out of his stance and beat the offensive lineman, getting to the running back cat-like quickness?
On 3rd and long, he has to throw for it. Finds the tight end. He almost picked up the first down on that one, but he'll be just a little bit short.
We knew this offense could put up crazy numbers, but I didn't know it was going to get this ridiculous this fast. They've now come close to 500 yards passing on the day.
And he's got enough for the first down. It'll be at the 35.
You know, I think there's a lot of people in the stadium that were wondering why are they going for it on 4th and 1 in their own end of the field, but the gamble paid off.
Trying to find his man on first down. Unloads to the wideout. It's caught downfield. Finally run out of bounds, but he has this offense rolling with a first down. The Gators come to the line with a new set of downs. They'll throw it on first down. Quarterback floating away from pressure. He's run out of bounds, but not before. Turning in a big pickup and moving the sticks for a first down. Quarterback by himself in the backfield. They'll throw it on first down. Got it in the middle. It's Henderson. He'll be stopped just short of the end zone, but they'll have it first and goal. And at this point, the defense looks as if they've been in one of those dizzy bat races. They've got no idea where the ball's coming from. He's over 500 yards passing.
Yeah, this is a Heisman Trophy level performance from this guy. The accuracy, the decision-making, the athleticism, everything has been on display.
You can't let the same guy beat you over and over and over again. You got to make adjustments. Sometimes you got to bring more guys in the box, more guys to the football, and make sure he's not the one who...
Touchdown, Florida! And the beatdown has ensued. Precision blocking up front created the open lane, and the running back followed it beautifully.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to follow an offensive line that makes those holes and just gives you a caravan all the way to the end zone. What an unbelievable job blocking up front.
Getting set for the point after. And the extra point will tack another one onto this lead. So it's a 77-yard touchdown drive and close the deal with a 3-yard touchdown run. And no chance at a return here. They'll start this drive at their own 25. UCF has it once again. What do you think about that? There's certainly still a hill to climb, but they've got to make sure these drives pay off. Got a touchdown last time. Can they back it up here?
Well, and it's amazing in a football game how sometimes they'll surprise you with what you do. Once you get settled, you realize what's going on. Now, I'm comfortable with it. Jesse, this offense looked comfortable on its last drive.
They sure did. It looked like they started to find some momentum. So now it's on this defense to stop that, all right? You're a little bit upset based on what just happened the previous drive. You've got to bow up again and go back to what was working earlier in this game.
This defense has kept them backed up. Now one more stop, and they can get off the field on 3rd and long. Trying to get to him. Catch in the middle, it's Ortiz. And Shore tackling there to keep him from getting to the first down marker. The Knights will line up to punt it away. He'll try to really get into this one. Looking for a block. It's Sanders. He only needs a sliver of daylight. He couldn't find much running room there. Didn't get a lot of blocking, and he'll step out of bounds. The Gators sending the offense back to work. They unleashed an aerial assault last time that took them right to the end zone, David.
So, Reese, with that drive, I think you've accomplished.
Looking for a huge play. And that one falls incomplete, trying to get a chunk play on that one.
And that is no fun for that wide receiver, thinking you just ran all the way downfield for that. You're not out here trying to run gassers or get conditioning. You're trying to catch TDs. What's going on?
You want to make sure to maximize those types of runs, and he gets it out to the 41. They've got it at the 41, 3rd and short, trying to keep the chains moving. On the option. He'll toss it. And they'll ride him down, but not before he picks up the first down. And how about the timing on that pitch? Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Looking to go up top on first down. He's going for it all. And that one's incomplete as they tried to hit him with a big play on the final snap of the 3rd quarter. 4th quarter is coming up. And talk about spreading the ball around. Everyone getting a chance to show off the hands based on the number of targets we've seen. The incomplete pass leaves them with 2nd down. Movement here from the tight end. Wants to throw on 2nd down. Oh, he loves to fire downfield. Picked off. He'll try to take it back. And they'll close in on him after a good return on the interception.
Man, what a great break on the football. Nice job seeing it, squeezing. A lot of those defensive guys, man, they don't have great hands all the time. But you always, always remember your first interception. He'll always remember this moment.
Feeling some heat. Fires to the wideout. And he throws his 3rd pick of the day. His head has to be spinning. After making the interception, he sets up his offense by running it back to the 39.
And as a defensive lineman late in the game, man, when you know it's past, you're pinning your ears back, trying to get to the quarterback. And DBs are trying to do this. Pad them stats, get the INT. Nice job by this D.
Florida has the ball back, and here comes the offense. Mistakes are going to happen, as they did on that last drive. Now, how will they respond, Jesse?
And this is the kind of guy who's going to take full accountability. That was my bad. That's on me. I'm about to lead this offense now down the field to score some points.
Dang, Palmer, I wish I would have played with you. I didn't play with many quarterbacks that were just like, yeah, my bad. Hey, guys, I got this. Sorry about that. It was more, you should have ran a better route.
On 2nd down, looking again to throw. Lets it fly deep downfield. Touchdown, Gator! And the punishment has been extended.
Points, points, and more points. This offense has had their way. They just keep their foot on the gas, keep putting up points, keep putting up touchdowns. And you know what? This is one of those stats days. You look back and you're like, that guy had 12 touchdowns on the year. Well, 4 or 5 of them might have been in this game.
They'll try to add another to their lead. The kick is up and good and put one more on the lead. Let's go to the studio now and check in with Kevin Connors. Kevin, what do you got?
Boys, if it's happening in college football, we've got eyes on it. Check this out. BYU is just steamrolling its way to victory today. No way the experts saw this coming. A lead that just keeps growing and growing. They're up by 35 over the Royals. We promise to keep you posted on what goes down in this exciting college football matchup.
Thanks for the update on that one, Kevin. Let us know when it goes final. And this sophomore able to wreak some havoc and get the sack.
Man, I've been there before as a quarterback. Sometimes you just wish the game would already be over, right? You've had nothing go your way all game long. You're trailing late. They're still getting sacks. And you just want to go back to the locker room. You want to get in the ice tub and start healing for next week.
You want to have a lot of success on defense, make the quarterback feel uncomfortable. This defense has been doing it time and time again, and you can tell this quarterback doesn't have a prayer.
Not exactly the ideal situation for this offense. 3rd and long, backed up inside their 20. Looking to throw, and he needs a chunk play. He's got his man, and he's not going to get there. The defense stands tall and makes the stop. They allowed the completion, but this defense was swarming to keep them away from that first down line.
Yeah, and you allow completions in those 3rd down situations underneath the sticks, and you come up and rally, and everybody flies to the football. That's great execution by this defense.
Looking for a block. It's Sanders. And he'll work his way on the return out to the 35-yard line before he stops. The Gators sending the offense back to work. They'll start this drive from their own 35-yard line. To the air on 1st down. He lets one fly deep. That throw might have been a little too hot. He couldn't haul it in inbounds.
I'm a little bit surprised they're still throwing the football here this late in the game with this kind of lead. They're on 1st down, taking a shot, falls incomplete, but obviously they're still seeing matchups that they want to take advantage of in the back end of this defense, so they're letting it fly.
Still on the 35-yard line after that incompletion. Here comes 2nd and 10. Now on the move. And not much doing there as that defense runs him out of bounds.
You know, I really like this QB running the football because I know he's got a lot of speed, but he's not the biggest guy in the world. So he's not going to be able to break a lot of tackles. You really got to do a good job of trying to scheme ways to get him out in more space.
They're trying to get to him. And the pressure gets to him. Down goes the quarterback.
And if your job is to irritate, to confuse, to hit, to make quarterbacks feel very uncomfortable, this defense is definitely doing their job. 6 sacks, that's the way to make the quarterback feel like he's having a hard day. He's had no response. This offensive line has no response, just a sack.
Fires one high and deep. Catch and stride inside the 15. Touchdown, Florida. And the route is on.
And this always is the debate of where you fall. It's your job to stop me or I should get conservative, because this offense obviously has had themselves a day, and apparently their day's not over. They're going to continue to keep scoring, and the defense better do something about it.
He thought about bringing that out for a half second, but he'll take a knee and they'll bring it to the 25. The UCF offense back on the field, ready to go to work. Last time, David, it was 1-2-3 kick.
That last drive, that 3 and out, sometimes that puts your defense in a bad spot, and you got to get a drive together here so you don't wear the defense out.
I just think, David, too predictable, that last drive. They got to do something here to get this defense on their heels.
Took a shot as he threw. Hit hard as he released the ball on that first down pass, and it never had a chance.
Well, they take a shot down the field. It's another incompletion. It's really been that kind of story. This defense has made this guy earn it every single play. Really small windows to throw into. 1 touchdown pass. That's a little bit surprising. You thought maybe they'd have more in this game.
And he'll run across the sidelines after the good gain.
Awesome body control and great job, too, knowing where he is on the field to make sure he got his feet down in bounds. At this point, this guy's been open all over the field, and if I'm the QB, man, I keep throwing him the ball.
Faced with a 3rd and short from their own 32 to keep this drive alive. They'll try to pick up the first through the air. That's caught. It's Everett. They'll get him on the ground at the 46, and it'll be a first down. The Knights come to the line with a fresh set of downs. Comes out throwing on first down. And it's incomplete. If you're going to take a hit like that, you might as well hang on to the ball.
At this point of the game in the fourth quarter, it is going to be tough for this offense to get some completions here because now, trailing by this much, the defense is expecting pass, and they're putting a whole bunch of extra DBs on the field to help them out in coverage.
Just had to get rid of that one. Good job to fight another play.
It's a nice adjustment by the defense here. With a big lead in the game, you're putting extra DBs on the field, knowing the offense has to throw to get back in this one in the fourth quarter. So your best cover guys on the field, and they force an incompletion on the last one.
Tremendous awareness along the sideline and the ability to get the foot down for the big pickup. The Knights look to keep this drive humming. They want to just keep throwing it. Got it in the middle. It's Everett. All the way down to the 25-yard line. They move the sticks. It's first down.
And that was a nice throw by the QB. When you see that drag route coming across the field, how about putting the ball right on his numbers? Not high, not low, where he has to stop his momentum. Right on the numbers where he can catch it, keep running, and chew up some yards after the catch.
Touchdown, UCF! Made the snag and strolled his way into the end zone.
Hey, good for them. They put together a drive. They got a touchdown. It's been a bad day. I mean, this is a day they're going to want to forget. They're getting destroyed, but at least you get some positive vibes. Maybe finish this game on a little bit of a high note, a little bit.
And he hauls it in, and everybody's on the edge of their seats. Not a lot of space to be found. Good hustle by the coverage team, and they stop him at the 21. Florida has the ball back, and here comes the offense. Looking for a productive play on first down. Leaves it with the back. Now after that run, they're in pretty good shape at the 30-yard line.
Offenses ice football games in the fourth quarter by running the football, and that's what these guys are trying to do right now, right? We're going to bleed the clock. We're going to stay on the field. It doesn't matter if the defense knows we're running it. They cannot stop us, and they're looking pretty impressive right now doing it.
He'll move it up to the 37-yard line, and it'll be a first down.
Well, they get another big run for a first down, and if you're on offense, you love the way your offensive line is blocking early in this game. They're getting tremendous movement, and they're making life pretty easy for these running backs right now.
They've got it at the 37. It's first and 10. He's looking to throw it. Grabbed over the middle. It's Sanders. They got him free for a big gainer down to the 43. He's now over 150 yards on the day. They're finding ways to get him the ball, much like the Gators did in 07, getting it to Percy Harvin, who had 100-yard receiving games and 100-yard rushing games that year.
He was just such a weapon. When you got weapons, you learn how to use them, and you learn how to deploy them in all kinds of different ways. If I'm Florida, continue to find ways to find that guy, because whether it's zone, man, whatever, he wins.
He makes the catch close to the sticks, but he'll be a little short of the first down. Now on second down. Looking for a gap. It's Murphy. And how about that interior defense stuffing the run for nothing? Line is set on third down. From the gun, wants to pass. Finds his man, it's Murphy. And the defense able to drag him down, but not before. They'll recycle that down marker. They've got it down to the 32. First and 10 coming.
First down for the offense.
Looking to move it through the air. He's right on target. And he'll make his way out of bounds after the solid pickup. Second down coming up.
Let's go!
They'll run it, trying to drain time off the clock. He's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of 3.
On the set.
Coming to the line of scrimmage at the 30. It would be a long field goal, but they'd love to pick up a few here on 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. He's got an open man. He's run out of bounds, but a big play on that one, and it'll be a first down. And the Gators come to the line with a new set of downs. They're threatening to score, and they'll throw it. Catch in the middle, it's Henderson. They stop him just a link or two short of the first, and man, what they can do on second down here.
I love the QB here. He holds it, he holds it, he holds it just long enough to let the receiver run the drag route, and then he puts it out in front of him so he can catch it on the run in stride and then turn upfield to use his speed.
Going to work on second down in the red zone is still some ground to cover to pick up that first down. The give to the back. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. The terrain gets rough this deep in the red zone. Third down, they can't pick up the first without scoring. We reached the 2-minute warning, and this offense is that much closer to salting away a victory. Not a lot of ground to cover and not much to defend. A big third down in the red zone.
Delay of game. Offense.
The delay of game pushes the offense back.
Okay, ready?
They've got a ways to go on this third down from the 10. From the gun, wants to pass. Quarterback moving. And they'll shove him out of bounds after the short gain.
Well, it's a really nice job there on that third down, trying to get after this quarterback. And obviously they're not able to make the play in the backfield, but really nice job pursuing. You see the athleticism and the speed they have, how they play as a unit together. Only giving up a little bit of a gain and now setting up fourth down.
So close to that end zone. He can almost taste it, but it'll be first and goal for this offense. Defense is backed up. Shadow of the goalpost trying to defend their own end zone. They'll run it on first and goal. Touchdown, Gator! And the stomping has commenced.
Number 0 in the end zone.
And with the extra point, they push the lead out a little further. Almost ready to kick it away after scoring the touchdown.
Kick it away.
Here he comes with the return. And the returner is stopped. Now the UCF offense ready to go back to work. This has been a really disappointing performance, David, no question about that, but they can find some positives.
Yeah, and every time you watch the tape, Jesse, coaches are pointing out, look at this. This was open if we just ran the details to the right route, hung on to the football. Little things can make it.
He lobs one high down the left side. And the incomplete pass taking a shot on second down, and they'll be left with a third down.
And this defense has put a game together. Like, it is hard to put all the facets of defense together. Run defense, pass defense. They've been so good, man. Dialed in. You could tell they were ready. They were fast. They were physical. They dominated this football game.
He's got his man. And he's not going to make it. The defense denying him the first down. The Knights will punt this one away. On the move, it's Sanders. He's brought down, but a really solid effort to pick up every bit of yardage he could on the punt return. The Gators sending the offense back to work. With this big cushion they're working with, Jesse, they're ready to send these fans toward the exits.
And you know the coaching staff has got to be so happy with how this offense has been able to come out here on the road, fight the crowd noise, and execute at such a high level, David.
Yeah, just dominate the football game. And now, listen, it's mode where I can run the football, run out the clock, watch this game go to zeros and get the dub.
This offense has a second down play. He'll toss it. Perfectly timed on that pitch, and they pick up the first down on the play. Guys, this one's going to go down as a nice win against a ranked opponent, and we didn't get the upset that many had thought we might.
No, they proved to the entire country watching this game that they are indeed the superior team, offensively, defensively, running.
He's loose. A huge gain on that one before he ran out of bounds, and he has the first down. And another big play by this offense, and if they are playing, not thinking about the scoreboard at all, there's evidence of it right there.
Hey, if there's time on the clock, as a defense, stop us, because we're not stopping ourselves. We're going to continue being aggressive. We're going to continue trying to score.
Touchdown, Florida! And the pummeling has started. Ready to try the point after. And with that extra point, the lead remains in the gargantuan category. Quick work on that scoring drive, just 4 plays. And they finish it by firing one in from the 13 for the score. About to kick it off after punching it in for the touchdown. And they thought about a return, then thought better of it. They'll bring it out to the 25. UCF has it once again. What do you think about that? This one has pretty much been a bludgeoning, but they'll try to finish with something positive late.
Well, they ran into a buzzsaw today, and I don't think it would matter what type of X's and O's they're out there executing, David. Jimmy's and the Joes, they're just not as good as the opponent today.
And as an athlete, it sometimes hits you in the face and it stinks, but you're not good enough. And today they were not good enough.
And the quarterback is knocked down back at the 13.
The defense puts the exclamation point on the day. They have had a wonderful day, man. Doing everything great. Just, you could tell they were dialed into what was going on. And now just throw another sack in the equation, hitting the quarterback, being disruptive. They've been all over the field.
Unnecessary defense.
The officials offer the deal, and the coach accepts it. They will take the penalty. First down here for the offense. He wants to throw. Snags it over the middle. And he's still running after the move. That is exactly what you're looking for when you talk explosive plays. The defense finally able to make the stop. They've crossed midfield at the 45 with a 1st and 10. He's going to pass. Coming after him. And they got him. He'll get him down for the sack.
And, man, is that just indictment of the day. Your quarterback getting drilled late in the football game. This offense has sputtered. They haven't found any kind of good rhythm. They haven't done things that really gives your coach confidence and it makes you want to believe in them. This offense has a lot of work to do before their next football game.
Big first down sack for the defense. Brings up 2nd down.
Roll it, check.
He's looking to throw. And the pressure is coming in, and they get him again.
A loss of 8 yards on the play. Third down coming up.
We waited so long to start the season, and just the way you want to start, getting that first victory.
And the first games are so much fun. You've been practicing against each other over and over all through camp. Now you get to come out, start the season off 1-0, Jesse. Great start.
It was a great start for the winning team. Now, for the losing team, obviously not the way you want to get into this season. There were some mistakes with execution, and guys are going to have to do a better job individually. But that's why you play the games. You get to now go back to the drawing board, get back on the practice field, try and iron out these wrinkles. It's a long season ahead. A lot to play for.
That's going to do it for us. For Jesse Palmer, David Pollack, our entire broadcast team, I'm Reese Davis. This has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.